This episode is brought to you by Cologuard. Do you know what's really scary? Not screening for colon cancer when you turn 45. The Cologuard test is non-invasive, requires no special prep or time off work, and ships right to your door. In just 3 simple steps, Cologuard takes the scare out of colon cancer screening. If you're 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about the Cologuard test. Cologuard is available by prescription only. Learn more or request a prescription today at Cologuard.com/screen.
Zootopia 2 has come home to Disney+.
Let's go!
Get ready for a new case.
We're the greatest partners of all time!
New friends.
Gary the Snake.
And your last name?
The Snake.
Dream Team. New habitats.
Zootopia has a secret reptile population.
You can watch the record-breaking phenomenon at home. Zootopia 2, now available on Disney+, rated PG. And right now you can get Disney+ and Hulu for just $4.99 a month for 3 months with a special limited time offer. Ends March 24th. After 3 months, plan auto-renews at $12.99 a month. Terms apply.
A process called phototropia, where trees grow toward the sun. And because of that phototropic presence, where all of those trees in that cluster are literally leaning...
Every time you do that, I feel like doing a yoga pose.
This is the plaintiff, Lauren Massiter. She says the defendant cabled one of her trees to another tree on her property, which caused one of the trees to split. Now she has to cut down the tree because her neighbor complained to her town about it, and the defendant should be made to pay. She's suing for $2,415 for the removal of the tree and damages he caused to her property. This is the defendant, John. He says his company was hired to cable one tree to another because of the potential danger of it falling down. A week later, Hurricane Sandy hit with a vengeance, and a number of trees were damaged. Her damaged trees had absolutely nothing to do with his cables, and he can't be held responsible for an act of God. He's accused of being unsupportive.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Lauren Massiter, you are suing John's company. He's asked us not to refer to his company by name, and we'll respect that. You are suing John's company, which is a tree expert company, for $2,415. The cost to remove a damaged tree and other trees that, according to you, they damaged when they did some work on your property. Tell me what happened.
Okay, so I have lived on my property for 20 years. I have approximately 20 trees. And with weather conditions as they have been in the past several years, things have happened. So last year, 2011, October, there was an ice storm, and I had a big tree that was uprooted and fell across the side of my backyard. Didn't do any damage to anything, but it fell over. The year before that, my neighbors, their tree fell on their roof. So with all this happening, they're very afraid of my trees. Mind you, these trees are about 100 years old, and they have never killed anybody, so they're like afraid of my killer trees. And I don't want to hurt anybody.
Here's a letter from the neighbor dated back in December of 2011. Branches from the trees on your property have already caused substantial damage to our gutters, and the continued presence of other trees pose a risk to the structural integrity of our house as well as the safety of our family members and pets. We've informed you of this risk, have attempted to secure your cooperation. Specifically, we have offered to cable one tree and remove another. So they offer to you, we'll pay to remove this tree and cable this other tree, which we're worried about because it's leaning over so much on our property.
And you have my letter, Your Honor, that I responded?
The one dated January 5th, 2012? Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So you respond to your neighbors, permission is granted for you to do the following at your expense: cable one tree to another and remove a tree that grows directly over your property. There is no problem with the removal of the tree, but there is a problem with the cabling. Now, the plaintiff's neighbor hires you, and did you approve of his hiring?
Yes.
Okay, because you had said something originally in your complaint about how she didn't use the person you wanted him to use, but I see in the letter that all you ask is that they consult on this arborist.
Like I said, I don't want my trees to hurt anyone.
Okay,
I don't want them to
So did you consult with this arborist, Scott? Scott
Lamb.
Lamb? Did you consult with him back?
Of course.
Okay. And what had he told you?
To cable the one tree and to remove the other questionable tree. Unfortunately, on the right of her house, there are a cluster of 3 specific trees that were a concern to her neighbor. There's a process called phototropia, where trees grow toward the sun. And because of that phototropic presence, where all of those trees in that cluster are literally leaning.
Every time you do that, I feel like doing a yoga pose.
Yeah, it's YMCA, right? Yeah.
No, not YMCA, a yoga pose.
Oh, there you go. Sorry.
All right, so now, you go to do the cable work, and how many different ways are there to cable a tree to a tree? Infinite number, or is there?
Well, with 2 very basic types of cabling. There's direct cabling, which is from one lead or one tree to another, and spoke and hub where multiple trees, and if there are multiple leads, 3 or more that are involved.
All right, so you can either hook one tree to another, that's just tree to tree, and that's called what?
That's called direct cabling.
Direct cable, or you do spoke and hub, which is like a wheel, and you connect a bunch of trees to each other.
Correct.
In this case, you did
direct cabling with a very short span.
What specs did she give you? Let me see the specs she gave you,
Well,
because the only thing I see is you can cable one tree to another, so certainly the direct part.
Yeah, it's simply the letter from her neighbor and her response.
Yeah, cable one tree to another. Okay, so you do that when? You direct cable the trees when?
It was October 26th, 3 days prior to
so we're all sitting around talking about the Superstorm Sandy coming up, the monster storm of the century, and it actually hit when?
The 29th.
The 29th, 3 days later.
And
all right, so Hurricane Sandy hits, and what happens to these trees?
Nothing.
So why are you here?
I'm here because my neighbor went to the town and said, oh, she has to remove a split tree and another tree, the one that's next to it. The 2 trees together, the tree is split since the cabling.
Well, just to be clear, when we're calling it a split tree,
it's bifurcated.
Meaning the branches have bifurcated?
Yes. The split tree was cabled to the other tree that was curved. However, I have an expert testimony that says they didn't cable it properly, and also the removal of the one tree.
Which is the tree that you had to remove?
Well, it's bifurcated and it's split.
It's bifurcated by God and split by his negligence.
Cabling.
Tell me what, is it
improper cabling?
Okay, but what's wrong with it? Why are you suing him?
Because the township told me I have to take the split tree down and pay another $2,050.
Okay, but why? What did he do wrong that makes him have to pay you?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Does it really matter what this guy did to the tree if Hurricane Sandy knocked this tree down?
No, not at all. It's an act of God. So the person couldn't figure out what they were going to do.
But isn't it a little bit unfair, because you may have a situation where somebody does something negligently to the tree, but they don't have to pay because a hurricane happened to hit?
Yeah, exactly.
So is that person responsible if he was negligent, or does the hurricane cancel it all out?
No, the hurricane canceled it all out.
The hurricane cancels it out, so he gets a free ride?
Yeah, it's the hurricane. The Mother Nature is the fault, right?
Nature is the fault.
Yes.
Got your point. Going inside the courtroom.
Let me see the paperwork from the township that says you have to take the tree down because the cabling was done improperly. What happened to those trees with the cable?
I have several photographs that I think paint a better picture, literally.
Okay.
The bifurcated tree split in the crotch. It's what.
Oh, that sounds so painful.
Well, and it's what's called a V crotch. This is science. Arboriculture is science. So.
That's why I'm trying to quell all the jokes that are coming to the forefront of my brain.
Of course.
All right, let me see that.
So, sorry about that.
So it split at the crotch. Oh, I see. No, I do see. Where I see the light shining through right there?
Yes, ma'am. And if you look below that V crotch.
Come over here.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a second. Show me.
So here is where the original crotch was.
Right.
It has split here, and actually, if you see the white line here, it's splintering even below the picture. And it's
Where's the cable? Point to the cable.
This is the cable, that straight line.
This line right here?
It's a braided stainless steel cable.
That line right there?
Yes, ma'am. And the fracture occurred about 3-4 feet above it. So it by no means did it split anywhere near where the lag bolt and the cable was supported.
Right. Okay. Go ahead and step back. Now, let me see. You have a report by an expert witness that you want me to look at, which is Richard Wallowitz.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So he wrote the words improper cabling in here? Okay. According to your expert, as the leaning tree moved in the wind, the pressure exerted on the cable caused the weak area of the larger oak tree to split apart and now warrants its removal. Using an additional cable to support the upper crown of the larger oak was an option that should have been considered. This would have provided additional supplemental support to the upper portion of the canopy. So he's suggesting that it should have occurred to you to do what?
His ultimate recommendation was to install an additional support cable in tree number 2 in my photographs, which is the bifurcated tree.
Okay.
Judge, the point that we're missing here is that the Masseters allowed her neighbor to do necessary maintenance on her trees at their expense.
Oh, I see. You're hired by the neighbor. You're being paid by the neighbor. The neighbor was only concerned about this other tree falling over, and if she wants her bifurcated tree strapped to itself, then she needs to pay for that.
Correct.
Here's a problem. I'm having a couple problems, but let me read to you this little part right here.
Me too.
While Hurricane Sandy caused much tree damage in the surrounding communities, none of the trees in the Masseters' yard were uprooted from the storm. However, judging from what was observed in this backyard, the methodology used in the installation seems to have been short-sighted and contributed to the failure of a tree. Okay, the problem is not one place does your expert say that the way he cabled it caused the damage. What he's saying is that he could have cabled your tree while he was at it and saved the damage. Maybe. We're not sure. Now, you also have part of your lawsuit is damage to some bamboos that, according to you, he did when he did the cabling.
I have that right here. Okay, that's the right way. So they took the tree and they shaved it and got the root down in the stump.
Okay, what I see is a branch of a bamboo down. Right here?
Yeah.
And then what is it you're saying? That they owe you $205 over the branch?
That pile is my old tree.
Right.
It fell on top of my bamboo and they didn't do anything to save my bamboo.
What's your response to that?
The tree was removed, the tree from her property leading into the neighbor's. After we removed the tree, she demanded that we grind the stump and the root. She didn't want the stump intact. Perhaps some of the mulch.
Is this the first time you hear about bamboos in the lawsuit?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have any proof that you mentioned bamboos before today?
No.
Kind of hard to kill a bamboo, right?
Very hard, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, he found a way.
Okay. Yeah, based on what I've heard, I rule in favor of the defendant in this case.
So a lot of testimony on both sides. Ultimately, the defendant wins this case. Here, turn around this way, and what's your reaction to that?
I'm bored. I'm going home.
So that leaves it up to you.
Yes, sir.
You bored and going home too?
Going home.
Your testimony was pretty exact in there. Was there anything you could have done to maybe foresee a problem on her tree?
Unfortunately, no. There's long history between the two neighbors, and it's good fences make good neighbors, and it's unfortunate. I feel bad that she's upset at losing, but I feel vindicated.
Okay, over to Harvey.
Okay, you know, I've talked about this before, but if you have a neighbor with who has a precarious tree where they haven't done what they need to do to it, you send them an email, you put them on notice. If anything happens, then they're in trouble. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Adobe Acrobat Studio, your new foundation. Use PDF spaces to generate a presentation. Grab your docs, your permits, your moves. AI levels up your pitch, gets it in a groove. Choose a template with your timeless cool. Come on now, let's flex those tools. Draft, design, deliver, make it sing. AI builds the deck so you can build that thing. Do that, do that, do that with Acrobat.
Learn more at adobe.com/do-that-with-Acrobat.
This is the plaintiff, Kalawale Fagboon. He says the defendant's a former friend of his who claims he was robbed of the money he gave him to purchase a car. The guy's story is as bogus as they come. He doesn't believe the defendant was robbed for a minute, and he's here to recover the $3,636 he's owed. This is the defendant, Guebrina Zampaligre. He says the plaintiff sent him money for a car through MoneyGram, and when he exited the bank with the cash, he was robbed by 3 men at gunpoint. He called the cops immediately afterward. They wrote up a report, and there's an ongoing investigation. Since he was doing the plaintiff a favor and did nothing wrong, the cops told him he owes nothing. He's accused of an inside job.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant stole money that he gave him to buy a car, and he's pretending that he was robbed. But the defendant says he was truly robbed by 3 dudes at gunpoint. It's the case of stick 'em up. You're being sued.
Thank you, Douglas. Mr. Fagbun, you are suing Mr. Zampaligre for $3,636, money that you sent him, MoneyGram fees, and your flight to straighten it out. Because according to you, he is responsible for your money, and according to you, you were robbed and it was taken from you. Why were you sending him money?
Well, I actually saw a car on Craigslist that I was going to buy in New York, but I was in Chicago.
Okay.
So I needed somebody to help me pick up the car, to help me go to the seller's place.
How did you know him?
He bought a laptop from me, and then he lives about 4 to 5 blocks away from me, and since then he has been my friend.
Oh, okay. So you were friends. He's not just some guy you sold a laptop to. Okay. So then what happened?
So I said, I called him on the 11th to ask him if he could help me get the car in Brooklyn, and he said yes. And then on the 12th, I sent him the money in the morning.
The 12th of what?
12th of November.
Okay.
So he went to the seller's place, checked out the car, and told me there was something wrong with the car. I said, what? He said the back bumper has a scratch. Then he also mentioned that the engine, there's something leaking in the engine. So I told him, can I speak with the seller? He said yes. I asked the seller said no, there was nothing wrong with the engine. It's just the bumper scratch.
Okay.
So I told the seller if he's going to take $3,200, and he agreed. So he gave the phone back to him. Then after some minutes, he called me back and told me they won't let him take the car with the license plate. They have to take off their own license plate number. That they're going to bring the car to him later around evening. Then I told him it's fine. So he said he's going to go now with the seller to pick up the money and pay the seller.
Were you going to pay him a fee for all the trouble he was going through?
We didn't agree.
Or he was just doing this as a friend?
He was doing this as a friend.
Okay, go on.
So later on, around 5, the seller texted me to ask me for his address, that they are on their way to drop off the car. Then I replied back and gave them the address and text him also that they just asked for your address. He never replied. 5 minutes later, the seller texted me back that, what's your friend saying? He just said he got robbed and told them to come to a station or somewhere without giving them an address. Then I tried to call him, he didn't pick up his call. I texted him, he didn't reply. Then I tried to call back again, then he turned off his phone.
They turned off his phone.
So I spoke with the seller and told them they should give me some time to get to him and all that I'll speak with him and see what we can do about it. Then he never called me back. He called me around 10 p.m. from another number. He asked me, did the cops call you? I said, no. Why would I have to get a call from the cops? Then he said, he got robbed. So I said, you got robbed? Then I smiled and said, how did this happen? And he said, well, he got robbed. And when I smiled, he said, so what are you going to do? I said, I'm not going to do nothing. It's bedtime. I'm just going to take a shower and go to sleep. So he was trying to fight with me over it. Then I calmed him down and told him, listen, this is my money here. I should be the one fighting. Why are you fighting me? Then I asked him on the phone that, where are you? So where, as in, whose number is it? He said he's calling me from home phone, a landline from home. So he gave me a detective's number and told me that is the detective in charge of the case, that the cops came around, they checked all around, they told him they're going to check the camera the next day to find the guys
What happened?
Robbed him.
I was supposed to see the car and give the seller the money. And
how did you get the money?
I got the money through MoneyGram.
So you picked up the money at MoneyGram.
I live in the Bronx. I told him send the money in the Bronx so I can pick it up. I don't know Brooklyn. He sent the money always by Coney Island on Avenue 18. He say, that's where I'm going to meet the seller. I don't know the seller. He said, once you get there, call this number.
Okay, so what did you do? You drove to Brooklyn?
I took the train to Brooklyn. When I got there, I was standing. I called the guy, and the guy, he came.
Wait, when you meet the seller of the car, do you have the money?
I didn't have the money on.
Okay, so you look at the car.
I look at the car, and there was a scratch in the back, and also is something that was leaking. And then I told him that, okay, your car is fine, inside is good, there's a bump. We even take the picture. You have the picture.
Don't talk to him directly. Go ahead.
We take the picture, and then we send it to him. He said, so give me the phone to the guy. And then they talk.
Did you tell him something about a leak?
I told him it's leaking, but if you want, you can talk to him, because you guys already made an arrangement.
Okay,
He told me, give the phone to the seller, I want to talk to him.
All right, so he talks to the seller, and then what happens?
He told us talk to the seller, and the seller said, go take the money and then give it to him. I said, okay, fine. Come with me. We're gonna go.
Stop. So the seller goes with you where?
We're looking for a MoneyGram. That's how we send the money.
Right.
And then we went together. The seller was outside with his friend. So I'm on the line trying to take the money. So the seller came in and they told me, oh, no, I have to go to work. I said, wait, I'm on the line. I'm the next person to take the money. Why can't you wait? He said, no, I have to go. My wife has to drive me to work. After work, I'm going to come back in the Bronx, give you the car, take the money. I'm like, okay, it's no problem.
So you're standing at MoneyGram, you get the money,
and then the guy
you got
says
$3,200.
Excuse me?
$3,200?
I got $3,200. This is the receipt. And then the guy, he left. I said, okay. I took the money on my way back. Three guys was following me. It was on Avenue 18. That's where I was going to take the ditch when I live in the Bronx.
It was what?
On Avenue 18 in Brooklyn.
Avenue 18.
In Brooklyn. So once I get there, they came right after me, three guys. And then say, hey, where you going? I'm like, say, what's up? He said, what you got? I'm like, I don't have anything. And so three of them, they circled me. So one of them took up the gun. It was a small gun. I explained everything to the police. They say, oh, what you? I say, I don't have anything. And then the churchman say, okay, wait, what you got? And then they put a hand on my pocket. They took the money. They didn't take my cell phone. They didn't take my wallet, nothing at all. And then they crossed the street and they started running. I tried to follow them. And then while I was following them, I was on the phone with the cops. The cops came right away. And then we look around, he was gone. And then I called the dealer because he was gone. I said, so where are you? He never replied. I left him a message.
The seller of the car?
The seller of the car. He never picked up the call. At that time, I think he said he was in contact with him. And then I was with the cops for 2 hours. We went to the police. Then
do you have police report?
I have the police.
Show me all the police records.
No, they say since it's a robbery case, I have to get the police report from the detective. They only can give me.
And did you get it?
I called the detective and I couldn't get him. They say once he gets back, they're gonna give me. He's gonna come back and I'm gonna come see him. I told the police at the precinct to call him. They called him. He never picked up. So on my way home, I got off on 125th at my friend's house and I was charging my phone and I called him and explained him the story. You did get hurt? He said, no, nothing. I said, nothing happened. They took the money. They didn't take my cell phone, nothing. I'm going to send you another money. I'm going to send the money to the guy, to the dealer, not you anymore. I'm going to send the money to the dealer. All you got to do, go pick up the car. I'm like, yeah, what about the money I just got robbed? He said, no, don't worry about it because I really need the car.
Do you go there the next day?
Because I trusted him. I went there even with my friend. So once I get there, I waited for half an hour. I'm calling. And then he texted me, oh, the dealer says he's coming. I never saw him. Like 20 minutes later, he showed up with his friend.
Who did?
Him.
Which you didn't expect.
I didn't.
You thought you were picking up the car.
I picked him the car.
What you had done is you decided to come from Chicago directly.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening? You come in from Chicago.
Yeah.
You see him, and then you call the police?
I didn't call the police. I told him I'm here to get my money.
Then he says, I don't have your money, I was robbed.
He got hungry and said he doesn't have the money.
Okay. Did the police verify for you that he had called in a robbery?
No, nobody verified anything.
Your Honor, he was with his friend. We went to the police. The police recognized me when I get there. They say, okay, yes, you got robbed. But since it's a robbery case, the case will be the detective.
Did the police say that in front of him?
He was there with his friend.
Did the police say that in front of him?
No, he went to the policeman. They couldn't produce anything.
But this is very simple. I'll just call the police department and find out whether there was a robbery reported or not.
With the case number, you can find in the police report was followed.
Yeah, now that doesn't tell me that you really got robbed. You could, of course, have called in a robbery and it didn't happen and you stole the money. Or you could have been robbed by the very seller who knew you were walking out of the MoneyGram with money. Or, wait a second, I'm theorizing here. Or there are people who literally stand outside the MoneyGram waiting for suckers to walk out who just got their money and they pounce on them. There's so many different variables. What do you think happened?
I think this guy he knows what happened. Either he set me up or the dealer knows what happened between.
Yeah, but that's a hell of a thing to do. I mean, so he gives you $3,200 to do a transaction, then he steals it from you, and then he goes to sue you?
Yes, because this guy, that's what he does. He doesn't work.
That's I mean, honestly, the kind of effort that goes into that and the risk factor of not winning in court that's no way to make money. I like my theories better.
I do.
But in any event, hand me the police report number, please.
Yes.
The case number.
Court is in recess.
All rise.
So if this defendant was really robbed, is he responsible to pay the plaintiff back?
He definitely is. It's almost like if you got a mortgage to the bank and you lost your job, you're still responsible to pay the mortgage back. So even though that he got it and he lost the money, he's still responsible to pay that person back.
Is that right? Do you see it the way he sees it?
Yeah, definitely.
Really? Does anybody disagree?
No.
He has to pay it back?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk later, going inside the courtroom.
According to you, the police had no idea what he was talking about.
They didn't verify anything.
Yeah, but when we get there, the police told me, okay, call this number, the detective gonna be able to see.
Did you ever call after that in order to try to see the police report?
I had to leave New York that day, so I went back.
Okay.
Because he was not ready to.
Did you ever talk to the seller again?
I didn't talk to the seller. The last
On that day, did you talk to the seller about that situation? That day when you flew in from Chicago?
I told the seller that I was trying to get my money, that if the car is still available after I get my money, I'll get to them. But if it's not, fine, I'll look for another one.
Let me ask you a question. If the guy's going to rob you, why does he go through the trouble of looking at the car and telling you about bumper problems and telling you about all the other stuff?
And, Your Honor, I even had to leave my job the day I was supposed to go see a car. I had to leave my job early to just be able to go and then look at the car for him. And I was going to even get myself in trouble because I was trying to resist with these people that were trying to rob me. I even ran after them, and then there's a couple of ladies that over there said, no, don't go, don't leave them, let them go. I was going to even. So what really pissed me off is just that he didn't believe the incident that happened. He said, I took his money. What happened?
Everybody stop talking. Let me tell you what the law is. When you're having somebody buy a car for you, he is what's considered in the eyes of the law an agent. He is your agent in this transaction. You're the principal, he's the agent. If the agent has the principal's money and he acts outside the scope of his agency and something happens to the money, it's the agent's fault. If he acts within the scope of his agency and something happens to the money, it's not the agent's fault. What does that mean? He gets the money from MoneyGram, and then he goes on a trip, and the money's, he gets drunk, and money's falling out of his pocket. That's outside the scope of the agency. But when you're acting within the scope of the agency, which is he's doing everything you know he's going to do, which is he stands at MoneyGram, he gets the money, and then he walks out of MoneyGram and he gets robbed on the way back to the Bronx, there's nothing in that train that's outside the scope of the agency. So I have to say to myself, okay, I've heard his story, I've heard yours. Unless you can persuade me that he's out and out making up the robbery, that's the only way you get that money back in this court of law. What about your case has persuaded me of that? I called the police. There was a robbery under that case number. That's this robbery. He could be making it up anyway and still calling it in. But I'm not getting that vibe. I have to be honest with you. He's telling you about a scratch here. He's meeting you the next day. If he had pocketed the money, why would he go meet you so you could either beat the bejesus out of him or get him arrested? He doesn't act like a guy who stole your money. So you don't have the evidence to overcome that threshold of having me say he's a liar. Therefore, in this case, I find in favor of the defendant. That's my ruling.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff comes out first. The defendant has won this case. What's your feeling on the outcome here?
Well, I thought I was going to get my money back, but according to the law, she said I can get it back, and it's fine.
No. What did he do wrong?
Well, he didn't do anything wrong other than when he called me to tell me that he was robbed, he was trying to fight with me over the phone. Then when I got to New York, he was still trying to fight me over the phone. But whether he got robbed or not, I thought I was going to get my money back, but I don't know.
Well, if he did get robbed, and like he says he did, then in that case, he was just acting on your behalf. He was trying to follow your rules according to the law. So what did he do wrong?
Well, he did nothing wrong.
All right. Well, good luck next time.
Thank you.
All right. Head right out there. How do you feel about coming out now?
I'm happy about what happened, and actually, and I learned a lesson from that, not to really, trust people, and then not to risk my life for nothing, because I could have got killed for nothing, So basically.
Well, there's a saying that goes, maybe you can finish it. Nice guys finish last.
Last, yeah. That's what
how the saying goes.
I guess
sometimes it's true.
I guess that's what really
But not
happened.
always.
Not always, but in this case, that's true.
Harvey?
The bottom line here is the defendant is only responsible if he was negligent, and you're not negligent when somebody robs you. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
I'm RJ Decker, a private investigator, uncovering the Sunshine State's darkest secrets.
Tuesdays, it's the premiere of ABC's hottest new crime show.
RJ freaking Decker, as I live and breathe.
He's a private eye.
It's not a standard murder, it's something bigger.
And a public mass.
Trying to get sent back to prison today?
You go to prison one time and suddenly it's all the jokes.
RJ Decker, series premiere, Tuesdays on ABC and stream on Hulu.
This is the plaintiff, Regina Pasqualino. She says she needed some handyman work done on her home, and she hired the defendant to do it. What a mistake. He gave her the runaround for weeks. The small amount of work he did was a disaster, and the way he treated her wasn't right. She's a single parent who put her trust into the defendant and is suing him for the return of her hard-earned $300. This is the defendant, John Hale. He says he started the job at the plaintiff's house, but the very next day he was stricken with flu. He told her he would need 4 or 5 days to recuperate, but the impatient plaintiff told him not to bother finishing the job when he showed up. He already bought the materials, was ready and willing and able to complete the job, and has every right to keep the $300 because he earned it. He's accused of not being very handy.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff hired the defendant as a handyman. She says he was awful and awful to her, but the defendant says he got the flu and she just won't wait. It's the case of my temperature's rising.
Thank you, Douglas. Regina Pascalino? Yes. You are suing John Hale, your handyman of 72 hours, for $300 that you paid him for materials and a deposit on his work, and according to you, he didn't return to the job. Tell me what happened.
I called him sometime in December. We met. I told him what needed to be done. Minor, odds and end jobs
Like
around
what?
the house. I sustained some siding loose from Sandy. Like one whole side got unattached. And
So it just needed to be attached?
Correct.
Okay.
I had some water damage in my boiler.
Water damage in your boiler, what was he going to do?
Well, we didn't know at the time. I thought it was water damage from the storm, but later, after I got rid of John, I noticed that I needed a new hot water heater.
Okay.
I had a window that I needed to be replaced, which I have the window. Some polyurethaning on windowsills.
The wood, okay.
I had some cracks in my walls and a crack in my ceiling in my kitchen.
How many cracks?
One in the living room, one in the kitchen, on the walls, and the ceiling in the kitchen. 2 walls and a ceiling.
2 walls and a ceiling.
I'm sorry.
4 weddings and a funeral. Okay. All right, so go on.
And then there was one other thing I have the wood between the doors, the outside doors, was rotting from water, and he was going to repair that also.
How are you going to repair that?
Polyacrylic on the bottom of the doors. She didn't have screen doors on the outside, so the water would hit the outside of the door and come down to the bottom, which caused the bottom of the doors to begin to rot.
Okay, so for all this work, he was charging you how much?
$500.
And did he ever represent how many days' work it was going to be?
He told me 1 day, tops 2.
Okay, and did he tell you by when he'd have it done?
He told me, well, it was Christmas, so I asked him if he wanted to wait till after the holidays. He said he didn't celebrate the holidays, so we agreed on January 2nd.
Aren't the holidays over by January 2nd?
Yeah, you would think, yeah.
Okay, so I lost that one, okay.
I'm
so
sorry.
It's
Yeah, I should
fine.
be
So
on more
January
articulate.
2nd is the plan, and what happened?
January 2nd, he came, and he said, I can't start the job today, but I need $100 deposit for the material. At that time, I said, well, John, did you do the written estimate? I need a written estimate. He said he hadn't done it yet.
But you gave him $100 without insisting on that?
Yes.
Okay, go on.
I know. So I gave him the $100, and he said he would be back the next day. The next day I called. He didn't show up at 8 o'clock. He doesn't show up at 9 o'clock, and I called. And it rang, and he didn't answer. And then I called again, and he answered, and he said he fell asleep because he does other work. He drives or something in Manhattan, and he had gotten home late, and he was tired. And he said, I'll start tomorrow. The next day came. He didn't show up. The same thing happened, repeated phone calls, and he said he would finally come on the Friday. He came on a Friday.
So the first day is what day?
This Wednesday the 2nd.
Oh, so when you say repeatedly happened Wednesday and Thursday. On Friday he comes in, and what happens?
Friday he said he was going to be there at 8, and he showed up at 10. He came with no tools. He asked me if I had a wrench, screwdriver, and I thought it was a little peculiar that a handyman would come without tools. So I had been doing some friend's hair. I'm a cosmetologist. I was doing some friend's hair. So I wasn't on top of him while he was doing the work, and I trusted he was going to do the work, and I'd leave him be. I heard him on the phone for a good portion of the time. He went outside, and I thought he left for the day. He didn't say what he was doing. He just disappeared. He came back, and about 12 o'clock he said he had to leave, that something came up. So I saw that he had caulked a shower, And
you didn't list that in the things that he was supposed to be doing.
Okay, apologize.
No, okay, so he was also supposed to caulk a shower. And what else?
And he was supposed to rip up the tile in the boiler room where the water and the damage was from the water.
Okay.
He did stay there for a while, and he said, just leave some towels over the weekend, and he'll tend to it on Monday.
Okay.
I said, you're not even here 2 hours. You told me that the job was going to be done in one day. I said, now it's the third day. I said, okay, fine, leave it be. He said he needed money for a down payment. Now, my father was a retired plumber my whole life, so I know that the right thing to do is to give somebody some money, and I asked him for a receipt for the materials that he bought. He said he didn't have it. He'd bring it with him the next time.
Then just give him the money the next time.
What
kind of plumber's daughter are you?
You're absolutely, that's exactly what my father would be saying to me, Your Honor.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm channeling him.
I know. Thank you. So Monday came, and he didn't show up. Again, no phone call. I call him.
What's going on?
No answer.
She's lying.
She's lying about every single thing she said?
No, not everything.
Okay. I have reports. I have cell phone calls. I mean, I made a list of phone calls that he even made. So Monday comes, and I called him, and I finally got him, and he said he's sick with the flu. So I felt at this point, what am I going to do? I have to be compassionate. The man's sick. So, okay, fine. He said, I'll be by tomorrow. John, if you're sick with the flu, how are you going to be by tomorrow? Don't worry about it. I'm coming regardless. Well, the next day came, same thing. It's redundant. I was repeating myself.
Did he come or he didn't come?
He didn't come. He didn't call, nothing. And I said, please, John, I just ask for the respect and the courtesy. Give me a phone call if you're not going to show up. I have to work. I can't stay home and not work. So he promised the next day he would be there. Same thing happened. He didn't call. He didn't show up. I then decided to start texting him because I figured I need something in writing.
So when do you decide I've had enough of him? Tuesday?
Probably Thursday. So I finally called him. I said, John, this is not working. This is like a bad relationship, and I think it's just time to end. I think that it's only fair
That's good. If every woman got rid of a bad relationship in a week, we'd all be so much better off.
So good.
All right, so it's a bad relationship, I know already. So you tell him I want my money back.
I said I was settling for $150 because he did come and worked for about 2 hours.
Talk to me, what's going on? Because tell me what parts of what she said are untrue.
So if he had the flu, is that an excuse for the delay?
I don't think so at all, because anyone could get sick, and you should at least give like 24 hours of notice before not coming to somebody.
Gee, I think I may have the flu in 24 hours. Going inside the courtroom.
First of all, she walked me around her property. She showed me everything that needed to be done, and I gave her advice on what needed to be done and how to do it properly. Then we went down into the basement where she showed me her two main problems, which was the water in the boiler room, and which she explained to me that she would do an insurance claim on because she feared the water was coming from the storm, Hurricane Sandy. I told her, well, we get the tiles up. Also, she has a tenant in the basement that uses a shower stall. It hadn't been repaired for quite a while.
Okay.
And these are the pictures.
So tell me the work that you did do.
I fixed the shower stall inside and out.
How did you fix the shower stall?
I stripped it out totally.
Stripped out what was there and then recaulked it.
And recaulked the inside and the outside.
Because what was happening in the shower stall?
It was mold and mildew, and that's how I believe I got sick. I'm on my knees for a couple of hours, fixing the shower, for about an hour and a half, fixing the shower stall.
Okay, can I ask you a question that anybody who's done work on their house would like to know?
Yes.
What else is in the list that you're going to do for $500? Because that's really cheap for all the work that you're talking about.
Yes, it is.
Really cheap.
Because I do it as a hobby. I don't do it as to make a profit, a tremendous profit off of my customers.
Okay, that's fine. But here's the thing, though. It didn't work out. Why didn't it work out? According to her, every day you had a different reason for not going there.
No. When I first came there, I came there to get a deposit and the money for the materials, which she's responsible for. The first day, I bought the material. The next day, what
was the material, by the way?
Ceiling paint and silicone and paintbrushes.
Okay. Do you have the receipt for that?
No, she does. It's
do you have the receipt for that?
I do because
May I see it?
It's
okay, go on.
inside of her bag. That day that she gave me that money, I told her that she's supposed to give me a deposit for the work.
Okay, I understand that. So she gave you $300. There's no dispute about that. All right. So on Friday, did you do any work?
I did the two main things that she said was a problem.
Which was?
I got up the tile floor that was in the boiler room.
Does anyone have a picture of the boiler room floor?
I do.
How many square feet of tile is it?
6 feet by 4.
Okay. You got the tile up. How long did that take?
It took me about maybe an hour and a half.
And then you also did the
The
shower.
bathroom shower stall, the inside and outside of the shower stall.
And then when does she say, I don't want you to come do this work?
That was about 4 days later.
Okay. And so your stories are not really that far apart.
That's
I
right.
mean, she says it's 6 days, you say it's 4 days.
Right.
So let me ask you a question. Have you ever done work on your house?
Yes.
Hey, listen, I've done a lot of work on my house. My brother's a contractor, my father's a contractor. You know, we have a saying in Spanish, en casa herrero cuchillo de palo, which is the cobbler's son has no shoes.
Right.
Okay. But no matter who has done work on my house, I am so excited to see them when they bother to show up that I will make them breakfast.
Absolutely.
I will go around giving everyone the little thing of Cuban coffee. I want to be the house they picked that day. I know that's crazy, but that's kind of the way. So, I mean, I understand your frustration, but you know, you take the good with the bad. You know, you happen to marry a guy who has a very easygoing attitude. That's why he charged you so little. And then you don't really like that he's not intense about showing up that day. In any event, let me ask you a question. When she calls you and says, forget it, I don't want you to do the work, and I want you to return half the money because you did do some work, so I feel it right to pay you $150, including materials, and you give me back $150. At first you said yes.
No, that's not what she said. She said she wanted $100 back. The $100, she gave me a total of $300. $100 paid for the materials.
Well, the only receipt that she gave me was one for $44.
And what is the material on that
It
list?
just says AF ceiling and interior paint.
That's not all the material that's in her
Okay, so
house.
do you have another receipt?
Well, she should.
You
It
gave
was in
her
the bag.
more than one receipt.
I put everything there.
In the bag.
Do you have other supplies besides paint in your house?
Spackle and roller brushes.
Okay.
Which total about $12. They don't total $100.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Hale. You had quoted to her, and this is how you got the job, that you were going to charge $500 for A through Z. How much of A through Z does your work represent?
The entirety of what I did is worth much more than $500.
I understand, but here's the problem that I'm having is this. You can't quote somebody $500 for items 1 through 15.
Right.
Do items 1 and 2, and then say, yeah, on second thought, 1 and 2 are worth more than half of whatever it is.
Out of the 4 rooms, I did 2
Here's
rooms.
what's going to happen, folks, because everything broke down between the two of you. I'm going to decide. This is what happens when you come to a judge. I'm going to decide what I think it's worth. And what I find, based on the contract you quoted, I am going to order that you be able to keep $100 beyond the $75 that I'm estimating for materials. And therefore, I am ordering you to return $125 of the amounts that she paid you. That's my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, let's see what the defendant has to say about this outcome. Come on over here. She didn't get everything she sued for. Here, turn around this way. But she did get something.
Yeah, that's a shame that, you know, you do your work, you give a person an excellent price, and then they try to get their money back to fix another repair. Her boiler room water heater is ruined. She needs money to
Did you quote too low of a price at the very beginning for this?
No, because I do that for all of my clients.
All right.
And it's not about the money.
All right, right down the hallway this way, okay? And, all right, so you come in here. What do you think? What do you think of what you got out of this?
You know what? I just wanted to get the money back, the money that I did spend, that he didn't do for the work. I think $125 to give back. It was better than nothing.
Do you think he tried to take advantage of you here, or
Yes,
what do you
absolutely.
think? You tell me what happened.
I'm a single parent, and I work 3 per diem jobs, so that's why I did go with him with $500, and I think that he's trying to use that against me.
What do you think, Harvey?
It's real simple. If something is really time sensitive, there are magic words. Time is of the essence. Write that down on the contract.